Have you ever wondered who really pulls the strings of power? We often focus on the person in the spotlight, the charismatic leader giving speeches. But what if the true mastermind is someone we never see, operating silently behind the throne? Today, we're diving into the story of a woman who was the real architect of a massive empire of corruption, all while her husband, the supposed leader, took the public stage. She was the queen behind the king, the strategist in the shadows. While her husband was the face of the organization, she was the brain. She meticulously designed the entire system, not for public good, but for personal gain. This wasn't some clumsy, impulsive scheme. It was a work of dark genius. She created a complex web of financial channels, directing the flow of illicit funds with a precision that would impress any top accountant. Money moved through shell corporations and offshore accounts, a labyrinth designed to be untraceable. She was the one who decided where the money went and who got a piece of the pie. How did she get away with it for so long? A huge part of her shield was her powerful family background. She came from a dynasty of influence, a family with deep connections in politics and business. This heritage gave her an aura of untouchability. No one dared to question her or look too closely at her activities. Her family name was like a fortress wall, deflecting any suspicion or scrutiny that came her way. This protection allowed her to operate with a level of audacity that would have been impossible for anyone else. She was insulated, protected, and free to build her corrupt empire from within the safety of her inherited privilege. Her strategic brilliance wasn't just limited to finances. She was also a master of human chess. She knew that every grand scheme needs a fall guy, a scapegoat to take the blame when things go wrong. From the very beginning, she had a list of people designated to be sacrificed. These weren't random choices. She carefully selected individuals who were loyal but expendable, people in positions that could plausibly be blamed for any wrongdoing. She would place them in key roles, let them handle the risky parts of the operation, and when the time came, she would cut them loose without a second thought. This cold, calculated approach ensured that the core of the operation, and she herself, remained protected. What's even more chilling is how she controlled the narrative before it was even written. She had an uncanny ability to manipulate investigations before they even officially began. Through her network of contacts, she would get wind of potential inquiries or audits. Before investigators could gather any real evidence, she would have already moved the pieces on the board. She would plant misleading information, create false trails, and direct suspicion towards her pre-selected scapegoats. It was like a magician's trick. She made sure everyone was looking at the wrong hand while the real action happened elsewhere. The official investigations were just a formality, a public performance where the outcome had already been decided by her. To the outside world, the organization appeared to be trying to fix its problems. They would announce new laws, new policies, and new compliance measures. The leader, her husband, would stand at a podium and speak passionately about reform and transparency. But it was all a show, a grand distraction. She was the one who drafted these policies, and she designed them with intentional loopholes. They were created not to solve the problem of corruption, but to manage the public's perception of it. These complex rules and regulations served as a smokescreen, making it seem like the organization was taking action while the real engine of corruption continued to run smoothly, hidden behind a wall of bureaucratic jargon. The human cost of this scheme was immense. Innocent employees, people who were just doing their jobs, were caught in the crossfire. When the pressure mounted and a sacrifice was needed, she would select a mid-level manager or a diligent staff member. Suddenly, this person would find themselves at the center of a scandal they knew nothing about. They would be publicly shamed, fired, and sometimes even face legal charges. Their careers were destroyed, their lives ruined, all to protect the inner circle. She saw these people not as human beings, but as disposable pawns in her game. It was a brutal, heartless strategy that preserved her power at the expense of innocent lives. One of the most fascinating characters in the story is the spokesperson. This person was the public voice of the organization, articulate, confident, and completely in the dark. The spokesperson genuinely believed in the leader and the mission. Every day, they would go out and defend the organization's actions, armed with talking points and data provided directly by the Queen herself. They were an unwitting tool, a puppet whose strings were pulled from behind the curtain. Her influence was so subtle that the spokesperson never suspected they were spreading carefully crafted lies. They became the most effective purveyor of her narrative, all while believing they were speaking the truth. For a long time, her confidence was her greatest asset. She believed she was untouchable, that her system was flawless. But as the saying goes, pride comes before a fall. Her overconfidence led to carelessness. She started making small mistakes. A document not shredded, an email sent from the wrong account, a financial transaction that didn't quite add up. At first, these were just tiny cracks in the facade, but together, they started to form a paper trail. Investigators, frustrated by the endless dead ends, began to notice these small inconsistencies. They started pulling on these loose threads, and slowly, the intricate web she had woven began to unravel. Throughout this entire saga, her husband played his part perfectly. He was the shield, the public-facing decoy. He stood in the line of fire, absorbed the criticism, and made the grand speeches. He projected an image of a powerful, decisive leader, but in reality, he was just following a script written by his wife. He wasn't the mastermind. He was the frontman. His role was to draw all the attention, to be the lightning rod for public anger and media scrutiny. By being the most visible person, he made his wife invisible. Everyone was so focused on the king that they never thought to look for the queen ruling from the shadows. This story serves as a powerful reminder that true power isn't always loud. It doesn't always stand at a podium or give rousing speeches. Sometimes the most influential force is the one that operates in silence, away from the cameras and the crowds. It's the quiet strategist, the unseen hand guiding the pieces on the board. It teaches us to look beyond the obvious, to question who is really making the decisions. Because often, the person we think is in charge is just a puppet, and the real power lies with the one holding the strings. The queen behind the throne is not just a character in a story. It is a timeless archetype of hidden influence that we see playing out in history and even today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden dynamics of power. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who do you think holds the real power in the world? Until next time, stay curious.